What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Gray Media. Checking in with you real quick on a Friday night. The best night, am I right? When did I turn into Dr. Seuss? I don't actually know what I'm doing there. But no, I love Friday night. It's like you can almost see the weekend, right? It's like it's here. I don't have to worry about Saturday night and having lack of sleep or, you know what I'm saying? And in my household, Friday night was always Friday night, pizza night, Coca-Cola night, right? And then obviously feature films like going to the video store and renting a flick. And we would go to the movie store and, look at all the awesome cutties and standouts, movie store props. And we would always get a couple of flicks. We would get home, my siblings, we would argue and bicker, and regardless, it was the best time. I mean, forget about TGIF, right? I mean, that was a big deal too. I'm an 80s kid, but the Friday night, the first time you pick out Ninja Turtles, the feature, anyway, all those New Line flicks that came out. But fast forward to today, and the hardest part of my job when I get home from work is trying to find something on this little clicker and going through all the different streaming platforms and seeing what's out there. That takes forever. I hate it. But of all of those, my favorite, I think, preferred is Amazon Prime for AMC Plus and Shudder specifically. So we're going to talk about my takes on the best flicks you can watch on Shudder right now. Most of these are Shudder originals. And yeah, I don't know if we're going to have just some photos going through. I don't know if I'll play some trailers, but we're going to get a little controversial, and we're not talking about Skinamarink, period. There's not enough time in the world to talk about that flick. I keep trying to watch it. It's a long debate. But anyway, let's get into my favorite Shudder flicks you can watch right now. So the first one on my top 13 list, in no particular order, we just talked about it. It's The Dark and the Wicked. I love this film. I've watched it probably 7 or 8 times since it came out. If you're not watching The Dark and the Wicked, I don't know what to tell you. That's a bleak, grim movie. I did a review about it. Go check it out. Maybe it's down below. Next. Anything for Jackson is another one of those movies that I recommend to people all the time. And it's one that I don't prefer to have to rewatch constantly because it's super bleak, super depressing. It just has this nasty vibe, which, I mean, makes it a great film, and it's very effective. It's a quick little flick about a couple that loses their child, and they'll do anything to get him back, and I mean anything. And they make some hazardous deals, and it goes into all too graphic detail. Check it out. So Host is a fun little movie that's a quick sit lasting pretty much only the length of a Zoom call. That's the whole idea of the movie. And basically, if you could summon a demon live on Zoom with your friends and it could go horribly wrong, that's pretty much what happens in this movie. I've got it out there. It's great. It came out in 2020 during the time of that virus that kind of took over the world and there wasn't a lot to do. If you want to just have something, a quick scare, kind of like Paranormal Activity, if it actually showed stuff, Host is for you. So Terrified, not to be confused with Terrifier, which is, a different story from Damien Leone. Terrified from 2017 forever has been my go-to recommendation for if you don't like foreign flicks and you don't like to read subtitles, this one might change your mind. It's been my favorite for a long time. Until When Evil Lurks came out, and I think it overtook it just by a little bit. But there's something about how Terrified is an anthology and it wraps everything up. The visuals, it's mean, it's nasty, it's kind of like a cop procedural, almost like Seven in a way, and they're just trying to solve this one block in Argentina that's having all these paranormal events happen, and I'm telling you, you need to watch Terrified. What's next? So When Evil Lurks is tricky because I made a video about it and I pushed some boundaries, so I'm not going to say a whole lot about this movie except you need to watch it. It's the second feature film from the guy that made Terrified. His name's escaping me at the moment. And it's similar to a possession flick. almost like ecological horror as well. It's a if it's not a 10 out of 10, it's a 9 out of 10. And in case you're counting, all of these ones that I've recommended, I think are worth the money, and this one is spot on. Probably my number one foreign recommendation. So of all the movies on the list, this one is actually probably the most fun. It's relatively charming in a horrific way, if that's possible. Where all the other ones before are kind of bleak, and they're super violent, gory. They get the job done, but Unwelcome is kind of, yeah, it's lighthearted. It's kind of got this fairy magic to it. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It feels very 80s, almost kind of like The Gate, or yeah, there's like some gremlins to it. There's a little bit of, with extreme imagery too. Like there's still a lot of violence, but there's something kind of quaint about this couple that's vacationing and then buying a house, and I think it's in Ireland, or maybe it's Scotland, I forget, but definitely check it out. So you'll remember exactly where you are when you watch The Sadness, trust me. I want to say it's North Korean. It could just be Korean. It's a horror flick about, when people are bitten, they become infected by this virus that causes them to act out all their most, exotic, crazy fantasies. And it's wild. Check it out. It's not going to be for everyone. There's a lot of intense material and content in that movie. I watched that on a flight to New Orleans, which must mean that the person behind me or beside me had to see that. And, it's on my little screen, right? But still, I felt bad watching it. It's a gross, nasty movie. It's worth watching. I love this movie. Absolutely adore Mortuary Collection. It's an anthology, with some wraparound stuff, kind of like, Tales from the Dark Side. Not as good as Creepshow, but this is a great movie. It's got the dude that plays, Gus in Pet Sematary 2. He's, in Highlander. He's in The Burrowers. He's an awesome character actor. This is a great movie. The Mortuary Collection, it's got male pregnancy, it's got Lovecraftian themes, it's got a dude that decides to kill his wife for the insurance money. It's nasty, it's brutal, it's great. Guys, I almost didn't include this one on my list. It frustrates me so bad. But at the same time, that's what makes it a movie we're talking about, a movie showing somebody to be like, what would you do in this situation? Can you believe how they responded, right? I wanted to put this as Guar in this spot, and it's not even ranked, but Speak No Evil stresses me out. It's about a family that takes a vacation with some folks that they meet, and they're a little bit off the rails, and everything goes wrong. How they handle the situations drives me nuts, but I'm going to recommend it because at least you'll have an opinion on it, good or bad. It's polarizing. Check it out. Another one that's kind of a controversial take for me because I heard so much hype about this movie, and I guess since I'm making YouTube videos, I should like it more than I do. It's very fun, and there's a couple of cool things in there. Maybe I need to rewatch it. In October, I go crazy during Halloween, and I do 2 or 3, 4 movies a day if I can. And I try to knock off ones I haven't seen or really get into some old flicks. But this one was highly recommended, and, I watched it. It was fine, I'm putting it on there because it is pretty decent, and people seem to love it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. So, yeah, Deadstream. Dude wants to make YouTube in a haunted house on a certain day and doesn't go well. But it's fun. If you can get past the character's kind of cheesy humor and him panning to the camera the whole time, you probably will enjoy it. So check it out. Mad God is a damn revelation. I'm not going to say anything about it. You need to watch that. If you grew up in the 90s seeing some of those claymation style videos from Tool, Green Jelly, Green Jello, depending on, how you want to call it. Phil Tippett created this movie. It's all stop motion animation. It's amazing. It's incredible. There's no dialogue. You don't need it. It's a short sit. Watch this film. Sun is kind of a sleeper hit. It's not incredible and it's not bad. It's kind of right in the middle, you know, between a 6 or a 7. And I ended up kind of liking it. It's about a mom whose kid is blessed for better for worse with this certain affliction, and the lengths that the mom will go to keep him safe. Nothing's off the table in this film. It's worth checking out. Did we save one of the best for last? You're damn right we did. Late Night with the Devil. I just watched it a couple of weeks ago. I can't get it out of my head. I absolutely love this. I'm not going to talk a lot about it because I'm going to make a whole video just reviewing that probably sometime this weekend. If you haven't seen Late Night with the Devil, I love it. I love the talk show vibe. I love the satanic panic that happened in the 80s. I got a VHS tape of there. I just like the whole idea of people losing their minds to talk about things that are out of their control. Late Night with the Devil is... it's tops. We're going to talk more about it soon, but check that out. Cursed Films, guys. Cursed Films is absolutely dope. It's awesome. It's all the behind the scenes stuff, kind of what Netflix is trying to do now with the movies that made us. Only it's the urban legends and the lore behind some of the most shocking and controversial movies of all time. If nothing else, watch it for The Crow, Cannibal Holocaust. The Exorcist one is really cool. All that behind the scenes footage is so awesome. You've got, I mean, what are you doing? Go watch that right now. Cursed Films, guys. Cursed Films is absolutely dope. It's awesome. It's all the behind the scenes stuff, kind of what Netflix is trying to do now with the movies that made us. Only it's the urban legends and the lore behind some of the most shocking and controversial movies of all time. If nothing else, watch it for The Crow, Cannibal Holocaust. The Exorcist one is really cool. All that behind the scenes footage is so awesome. You've got, I mean, what are you doing? Go watch that right now. Guys, that pretty much wraps it up. That was 13 movies and then a series that I think you should check out on Shudder right now. All killer, no filler. I know there's Creepshow. There's a ton of really cool documentaries. Tons of different series that I really like on Shudder, but I was running out of time and it's getting late. So hit those 13 up, plus Guar. Get into it. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, man, it sure would mean a lot. I would appreciate it. Can't wait to see you again. Cheers.